When you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, what do you see? Who are you when no one is watching? These are not easy questions because the world we live in constantly demands negotiation, not just of contracts or decisions, but of our very identities. We're told to fit in, to shrink parts of ourselves to make others comfortable, or to play small to avoid standing out. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be negotiable. Authenticity is the foundation upon which a fulfilling life is built. In a world that often values conformity over individuality, choosing to embrace your true self is a radical act of courage. It's easy to feel pressure to mold yourself into what others expect, but here's the truth. The most powerful version of you is the one that is unapologetically authentic. When you allow yourself to be seen for who you are, without the masks, without the filters, you unlock a strength that no external approval or validation can ever provide. Authenticity is not about perfection, it's about wholeness. It's about owning all the pieces of yourself, even the messy, complicated ones. Too often, we fall into the trap of thinking we need to fix or hide parts of ourselves to be worthy of love or success. But the truth is, the very things you may consider flaws are often your greatest assets. They make you relatable, human, and real. When you embrace your full self, you give others permission to do the same. Authenticity becomes a ripple effect, transforming not just your life, but the lives of those around you. This doesn't mean authenticity is always easy. It requires vulnerability, a willingness to be seen, even when it feels uncomfortable. Being authentic means standing in your truth, even when it goes against the grain. It's about saying, this is who I am, and not wavering in the face of criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. But here's the secret. When you live authentically, you don't need everyone to understand or approve of you. The right people will. The right opportunities will. And the ones that don't align with your true self will fall away, leaving room for what truly belongs in your life. When you lean into your authenticity, you tap into a strength that fuels resilience and confidence. You stop chasing external validation because you realize that your worth isn't up for debate. Your choices, your voice, and your unique perspective become your power. You become less concerned with fitting in and more focused on standing out in a way that feels true to you. And that kind of freedom is liberating. Authenticity also strengthens your relationships. When you show up as your real self, you create space for genuine connections. You attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you think you should be. This kind of authenticity fosters trust and mutual respect, forming the foundation for meaningful, lasting relationships. Ultimately, authenticity is not just a personal value, it's a strength that shapes every aspect of your life. It gives you clarity in decision making because you're guided by your true self, not by what others expect. It fuels your passion because you're living in alignment with your values, and it provides a sense of peace because you're no longer expending energy pretending to be someone you're not. Let's reduce some of the backstory for a minute here so embrace your authenticity. Let it be your compass, your armor, and your greatest strength. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the real you. Every choice you make in life is a reflection of your values, whether you're conscious of it or not. These values are your moral compass, the core principles that define who you are and what you stand for. They guide your decisions, shape your relationships, and determine the life you build. Yet too often, we find true belonging isn't about fitting in or conforming to the expectations of others. It's about being so comfortable in your own skin, so rooted in your identity that you no longer feel the need to bend, shrink, or change yourself to be accepted. The foundation of belonging isn't external validation, it's self-acceptance. Self-acceptance means embracing all of who you are, your strengths, your flaws, your quirks, and your scars. It's recognizing that you are enough just as you are, without needing to prove your worth to anyone. This kind of radical self-acceptance isn't always easy in a world that often tries to define our value through comparison, achievement, or conformity. But it is essential. Without it, any sense of belonging you experience will be conditional, fragile, and ultimately unfulfilling. When you accept yourself, you begin to shed the layers of perfectionism and fear that prevent you from being seen. You stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. This doesn't mean you won't face rejection or judgment. It means those experiences no longer dictate your sense of worth. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start saying, "I am who I am, and that is enough." Self-acceptance creates a profound shift in how you interact with the world. When you stop searching for external approval, you allow yourself to show up authentically. This authenticity attracts the kind of connections that are real, deep, and meaningful. The people who matter, those who truly see and value you, will gravitate toward your authenticity, and those who don't, they'll fall away, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to be part of your journey, and belonging doesn't require universal acceptance. At its core, belonging is not a group or a place. It's a state of being. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are enough, just as you are. This confidence allows you to create spaces where you and others can thrive, whether in your relationships, your work, or your community. It transforms how you navigate challenges because you're no longer seeking outside validation to feel secure. But self-acceptance requires courage. It demands that you face the parts of yourself you might have been taught to hide or suppress. It requires you to release the need to fit into societal molds or to meet impossible standards of perfection. Self-acceptance isn't about giving up on growth. It's about growing from a place of love and respect for who you are, not from shame or self-criticism. When you embrace self-acceptance, you create a ripple effect. You inspire others to do the same, fostering a culture of authenticity and connection. You become a living example of what it means to belong, starting from within. So if you're searching for belonging, start here. Accept yourself. Let go of the masks, the fear, and the need to conform. Belonging isn't found in the approval of others. It's discovered in the quiet, unwavering truth that you are enough, always. Courage is often portrayed as grand acts of heroism, but in reality, it's found in the quiet, everyday moments when you choose to stand firm in your truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. It's the willingness to live authentically, even when doing so feels uncomfortable or risky. Standing firm in your truth requires you to confront fear, rejection, and criticism head on and say, "This is who I am, and I'm not backing down." Living with courage starts with clarity. To stand firm in your truth, you first need to know what that truth is. What do you believe in? What matters most to you? What values define you? These aren't just philosophical questions, they're practical ones. When you know your truth, you can navigate life's complexities with a sense of purpose. It becomes easier to say no to what doesn't align with you and yes to what does. Without this clarity, it's easy to be swayed by the opinions of others, by societal expectations, or by the fear of standing out. Standing firm in your truth doesn't mean you'll never feel vulnerable. In fact, vulnerability is a key part of courage. Every time you speak up for what you believe in or set a boundary, you expose yourself to the possibility of pushback. But vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. It shows that you're willing to take a risk for the sake of authenticity and integrity. The alternative, silencing yourself or compromising your values, may feel safer in the moment, but it often leads to regret, frustration, and a loss of self-respect. The second way to optimize is focusing on the good things that come from self. Courage also means being consistent in your truth, even when it's inconvenient or unpopular. There will be moments when standing firm feels like swimming against the tide. People may question your choices, challenge your beliefs, or misunderstand your intentions. You might be tempted to bend, to appease, or to fit in. But every time you compromise your truth, you chip away at your own sense of self. The price of fitting in is often too high because it costs you your authenticity. It's important to remember that courage isn't about being loud or confrontational. It's about being steadfast. It's about having the quiet confidence to hold your ground, even when the world around you feels uncertain. This kind of courage doesn't just benefit you, it inspires others. When people see you standing firm in your truth, it gives them permission to do the same. It creates a ripple effect, building communities where honesty, respect, and authenticity thrive. Ultimately, courage is an act of self-respect. It's choosing to honor your voice, your values, and your unique perspective. It's recognizing that your truth matters, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. So stand firm, speak clearly, live boldly. The world needs your courage, not to dominate or control, but to show what's possible when someone dares to live with integrity and heart. In the end, standing firm in your truth is not just an act of courage. It's a declaration of self-worth. It's choosing to honor who you are even when the world challenges you to be otherwise. Living authentically may not always be the easiest path, but it is the most fulfilling. It allows you to walk through life with integrity, clarity, and purpose, attracting the kind of people and opportunities that align with your values. Courage isn't about eliminating fear. It's about rising above it. It's about showing up as your full, unedited self, trusting that your truth is enough. When you live this way, you don't just create a better life for yourself, you become a beacon for others, showing them that authenticity, strength, and vulnerability can coexist. Hello, my friend. So, let your courage be the foundation of your authenticity. Let your truth guide you, even in the face of uncertainty. And remember, the greatest act of bravery is to unapologetically be yourself. The world needs you exactly as you are.